Hello and welcome to Sticky from the Inside, the employee engagement podcast that looks at how to build stickier, competition-smashing, consistently successful organisations from the inside out. I'm your host, Andy Goram, and I'm on a mission to help more businesses turn the lights on behind the eyes of their employees, light the fires within them, and create tons more success for everyone. This podcast is for all those who believe that's something worth going after and would like a little help and guidance in achieving that. Each episode, we dive into the topics that can help create what I call stickier businesses. The sort of businesses where people thrive and love to work, and where more customers stay with you and recommend you to others because they love what you do and why you do it. So, if you want to take the tricky out of being sticky, listen on. Okay then, welcome to this special end of the year episode of Sticky from the Inside. As usual, as we approach the holidays, I've given my guests the episode off, and so for today's episode, it's just you and me as we take a look ahead to 2025. In this shorter than usual episode, I want to share what I believe, based on all the conversations I've had, work I've done, and articles I've read in the last year, what the 7 focused trends in organisational culture, leadership and engagement will be going forward. As we approach the new year, businesses face increasing pressures from a challenging political and financial environment, rising costs, such as the recent increase in national minimum wage threshold in the UK, which has come as such a shock to many organisations, are forcing them to make really difficult decisions about investing in the long-term development and support of their people. Balancing immediate financial concerns with the need to build sustainable, people-centred cultures is still a major tension point for many, and it has perhaps never been more pointed. But amidst these challenges, I think, lie opportunities. Opportunities to rethink, to redesign and recommit to the core principles that drive meaningful engagement, resilience, and sustainable success in the workplace. The question isn't whether organisations can afford to invest in their people, it's whether they can afford not to. And that may sound very easy for me to say, but the trends I'll highlight today are at the heart of this pivotal movement. They reflect the themes shaping conversations across boardrooms, break rooms, and Zoom rooms everywhere. Each one, I think, is an opportunity to take a bold step forward. Many of them are not new news, but they are at the heart of what I believe we truly need to be focused on going forwards. I'll share my opinions, insights, maybe pose a few questions, and highlight a bit of best practice along the way, in the hope of showing you what, might seem impossible, really isn't, and that others have succeeded. Now, you may disagree or think differently, and that is great. I'd love to hear from you. So let me know what you believe or have experienced that will help create working environments that allow people to bring their best more often and connects what drives the business to what drives the people within it. As I look ahead to next year, as always, I'll be looking to bring on expert guests in the coming months to dive even deeper into these themes. Now, if you have any suggestions for guests, or maybe you think you'd make a great guest, please reach out via any of the show's social channels because I would sincerely love to hear from you. Anyway, grab a coffee and a mince pie if it's applicable, settle in, and let's take a look at what I believe these 7 trends going forwards will be. Trend number 1. The emphasis on continuous learning and development. As the pace of change accelerates, the need for continuous learning and development has become a cornerstone of resilient organisations. No longer can we afford to think of learning as a one-off training session or annual workshop. It must become a dynamic, ongoing process associated with constantly making little nudges of improvement that deeply embed into the fabric of an organisation. Peter Senge said in his seminal book, The Fifth Discipline, which highlights the transformative power of learning. Through learning, we recreate ourselves. Through learning, we become able to do something we were never able to do. Now, this sentiment resonates even more strongly in today's context, where the skills required to thrive in the workplace are continually evolving. But let's not forget that generational skills gap that's heading our way over the next 5 or 6 years too, as boomers exit the workplace. Learning agility and commitment can become a key differentiator, helping employees adapt to change, grow personally, and foster a spirit of innovation. Yet achieving this requires deliberate effort and a shift in mindset. Leaders must champion learning not as an obligation, but as an opportunity to grow and stay competitive. And let's not forget the role of technology in driving this change, and more on that later, but from online learning platforms to AI-driven personalized training plans, tools abound to help organizations scale learning opportunities. But at its heart, a learning culture depends on people, leaders who model curiosity, and employees who are empowered to explore and experiment. Let's not forget Dan Pink's trilogy from his excellent book Drive. The secret to human motivation comes through purpose, autonomy, and mastery. And learning is what fuels mastery, that feeling of constantly being on top of your game. So how can you embed a learning mindset into your organization's DNA? What are you focused on learning? Are your learning programs preparing employees and leaders for future challenges, not just today's stuff? You know, Microsoft's cultural transformation under Satya Nadella is perhaps a testament to the power of continuous learning. By fostering a learn-it-all culture instead of a know-it-all one, Microsoft revitalized its approach to innovation and employee engagement. The cultural shift has been credited as a key factor in the company's sustained success. Now, does learning feature as a core competency in your performance reviews? Do you recognize and reward curiosity, adaptability, and the willingness to learn from failure? Really? And how does your learning focus align with your organization's strategic goals? Trend 2, integration of AI and technology in HR practices. Artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming the workplace, particularly in HR. From talent acquisition to workforce analytics, AI tools are enabling organizations to make data-driven decisions and streamline processes. However, these advancements come with challenges. As author Shoshana Zuboff warns, in the age of surveillance capitalism, technology is never neutral. AI's introduction must be accompanied by careful consideration of its impact on trust, transparency, and the human experience. I think the potential of AI in HR is immense. It can improve efficiency, reduce bias in hiring, and provide deep insights into employee engagement, sentiment, and performance. Yet it also raises questions about data privacy, equity, and the emotional well-being of employees. Anxiety around AI is real, and organizations must address these concerns head-on to ensure successful adoption. But I really do believe we have to go into this with a really positive mindset, in that far from take our jobs, it's going to allow us time to be more human at work. Let's take a moment to reflect on what success looks like here. Companies like Unilever and IBM have demonstrated that AI works best when it complements human expertise rather than replacing it. Whether that's through chatbots for quick queries or advanced analytics for workforce planning, AI's role should always be to enhance the human experience, not detract from it. Have you embraced AI and technology? Have you addressed any of the fears of your employees may have towards it? Transparency about how AI is used and its benefits can reduce resistance and foster acceptance. One thing's for sure, guys, it's here. It's getting cleverer by the day, and we are going to have to embrace it. And if we do, we have an opportunity to revolutionize work. Trend 3, flexible and hybrid working. This is nothing new. I'm unable to accurately say the number of times we've mentioned this on the podcast in the last year, but the shift to hybrid work has redefined how organizations think about productivity and collaboration. And it's almost a prerequisite for many job applicants today. And whilst this model offers flexibility, it also represents unique challenges. And for many, it's still a hot mess. Dr. Gleb Tsipursky, author of Leading Hybrid and Remote Teams, emphasizes the future of work is flexible, but flexibility requires structure to succeed. Hybrid work must go beyond simply allowing employees to choose where they work. It requires thoughtful design to ensure equity, foster connection, and maintain alignment with organizational goals. Without these clear guidelines and robust communication channels, hybrid teams can quickly become fragmented. We've all seen the examples. And as someone said to me the other day, we have never been more connected, Andy, and yet feel so isolated. So what's the secret to success? Organizations that have embraced hybrid work successfully often credit their success to clear communication, shared purpose, and robust systems. Companies like Salesforce and Spotify have shown that with the right mix of autonomy and accountability, hybrid work can be a win-win for employees and employers alike. For instance, Spotify's work from anywhere model has not only increased employee satisfaction, but also enhanced diversity by opening up roles to talent from right around the globe. How's your hybrid policy working? Do you actually have a policy? Is it fostering inclusivity and connection, or is it fragmenting it? Have you cultivated a sense of community in your dispersed workforce? And if so, how? Tell us. One strong idea I've seen is to create hybrid team charters to set expectations for communication, collaboration, and availability. Success lies in the way these things have been put together by the hybrid teams themselves and the regular revisiting of these charters to ensure they remain effective, inclusive, and relevant. In 2025, I sincerely hope the conversation around hybrid working moves on. Trend 4, genuine focus on well-being and mental health. Again, not a new trend, but one that will stay with us and will grow in importance. Employee well-being has moved from being a peripheral concern to a core business priority. As a recent McKinsey study highlights, organizations with strong mental health support see a 25% boost in productivity. Now, this underscores the link between well-being and business performance. And listen, guys, let's not hide from it. This is all about performance. However, well-being initiatives have to go beyond surface-level perks like yoga classes, breathing, and meditation apps, which still make up the majority of organizational support in this area. True well-being requires systemic changes that address the root causes of stress and burnout, such as excessive workloads, unrealistic working practices, and toxic workplace cultures. And these are difficult things to face into. But let's think about this. What does genuine well-being look like in practice? It's leaders who model healthy boundaries, systems that allow for flexibility without overwork, and a culture where vulnerability is not just accepted, but encouraged. Many organizations have initiated mental health first aid programs supported by mental health practitioners, embedding mental health into everyday workplace practices. And that's great. We just need more of it. Are your well-being initiatives addressing systemic stressors like workload and toxic behaviors, or are they just scratching at the surface? What's the say-do gap look like in your business? How do leaders model healthy work-life integration? How is that perceived by your workforce? What behaviors are unintentionally causing the problems? This isn't about being fluffy. This is about having a workforce that is fit for work. Something as simple as introducing mental health check-ins as a regular part of team meetings to try and normalize conversations about well-being can make a huge difference. And this can be supercharged if you can encourage leaders to model vulnerability and prioritize their own mental health too, because it sends such a powerful message. Trend 5, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is also nothing new, but these have shifted from being buzzwords to becoming business imperatives. Organizations are realizing that to thrive in a complex, globalized world, they must embrace the full spectrum of human experiences and perspectives. As Vernon Myers famously said, diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. Again, like well-being and mental health, a commitment to DE and I means going beyond token efforts. It requires systemic change, robust measurement, and unwavering accountability. It's not a quick fix. It's about creating environments where everyone feels valued and empowered to contribute their best work. This can be especially challenging during these periods of economic or political instability. But these are the very times when DEI becomes most critical to maintaining resilience and that spirit of innovation. Ask yourself this honest question. Are your DEI initiatives genuine or for show? Are you ticking boxes or clear on what you're doing and why it's important for your organization to be diverse, equitable, and inclusive? Do those efforts feature in all levels of your organization, including leadership? And in this space, I think it's interesting to look at Rolls-Royce because I think it provides a standout example of how organizations can embed diversity and inclusion into their culture in a meaningful way. I understand that one of their most impactful initiatives is their Being Like Me series, where employees share personal stories to foster a workplace where individuals feel safe to be their authentic selves. And under the chair leadership of Anita Frew, Rolls-Royce have achieved gender parity on its board, showing a commitment to representation at the very highest levels. The company also emphasizes psychological safety and equips leaders with the skills to foster inclusion, proving that DEI is not just a checkbox, but a business-critical strategy. Now, how does your organization match up to that? Trend 6, meaningful work experiences. Employees are no longer satisfied with simply clocking in and out. Hang on, actually, that's not true. There will be a proportion who probably are. But I suspect they've never known or been shown anything different. An increasing number, particularly from younger generations, however, wants to feel that their work has purpose and contributes to something bigger than themselves. As Simon Sinek says, when people are financially invested, they want to return. When they are emotionally invested, they want to contribute. We have to make work more than the paycheck. We spend so much time of our lives at work. Wouldn't we want that time for our people to be meaningful? Meaningful work fosters engagement, loyalty, and satisfaction. It's about creating an environment where employees feel connected to their work on an emotional level. By aligning individual contributions with the organization's mission, employees can see the value of their efforts beyond just financial compensation. Recognition and appreciation further reinforce this sense of purpose, motivating employees to give their best, stay engaged, go that little bit further. Look, it's not an original example, but I still think it's one of the best. But Patagonia's commitment to environmental sustainability infuses purpose into every role within the organisation. Employees, as a result, feel a deep connection to the company's mission, which drives engagement and loyalty. This is where we'll find that magic link I keep banging on about between what drives the business and what drives the people within it. And it works. What purpose and meaning do your employees find in their roles or their work? Do you know? Have you asked them? Do they know why your organisation does what it does? Finding and harnessing this stuff is, I believe, crucial to creating a sustainably enabling and thriving workplace. And this will continue going forwards. And finally, trend 7, leadership connection and championing culture. At the heart of every successful organisation is strong leadership. But in 2025, leadership will continue to be less about hierarchy and more about human connection. Employees want leaders who are approachable, empathetic, and aligned with the values they promote. As Brené Brown beautifully puts it, leaders must either invest a reasonable amount of time attending to fears and feelings, or squander an unreasonable amount of time trying to manage ineffective behaviours. And what she's highlighting here, I believe, is the importance of addressing the emotional needs of employees proactively. By dedicating time to understanding and supporting their teams, leaders can create an environment of trust and psychological safety, which ultimately reduces inefficiencies, strengthens engagement, and releases all that latent potential within its people. Leadership isn't just about setting the vision, it's about living it. Leaders who actively champion their organisation's culture build trust and engagement across all levels. I just believe this to be true. I see it in the very best examples that I get to work with, and I smell it in the very worst. This requires a deep understanding of both the organisation's values and the unique needs of its people. It's about modelling behaviours that inspire and create psychological safety for employees to do their best work. It may be the comfy place of many an MD or CEO to be stuck in the numbers, but they're the byproduct of how your company functions, your culture. You can't change last week's figures, but you can influence the culture that you need to be sustainably successful. Putting more energy there can only help. People are looking to you to see what's important. Are you, as a leader, or your fellow leaders, walking the talk when it comes to embodying your organisation's values, goals, ambitions, and behaviours? Or are you giving it tacit approval for the exact opposite? You are going to have a culture whether you like it or not. You might as well try and create the one that you need. So as we head into 2025, one thing to me is clear. The future of work is human. Whether it's embracing technology, rethinking leadership, or fostering well-being, the organisations that will thrive going forwards will be those that put people at the centre of every decision. I'll be working hard to bring new voices to the podcast next year. Guests who could help us dive deeper into these themes, share their experiences, and get a better collective understanding about how these things can help us. If you have ideas or want to join the conversation, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Just search for Andy Goram, or reach out to me via any of the podcast social channels, including YouTube. I really want to hear from you. Let's make 2025 the year of meaningful action on this stuff together. And that's it. That's it for the final episode of the year. As always, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and try and stay sticky. Cheers. So, that concludes today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, found it interesting, and heard something maybe that will help you become a stickier, more successful business from the inside going forward. If you have, please like, comment and subscribe. It really helps. I'm Andy Goram, and you've been listening to the Sticky from the Inside podcast. Until next time, thanks for listening.